Because I CC'd Adam at YMS on this. I hate to bring Adam into this, but he is my proof that I tried to end this many days ago. In fact, he said, Derek, why you CC this? You know, I like Adam, first of all. Adam's a good-hearted man, and I know for a fact that he loves Cool Cat, and that is extremely important to me right there.
So, you're justifying the actions of YMS, even though he did the exact same thing that you're scolding I Hate Everything for. But that doesn't even matter, because I Hate Everything's review and YMS's review fall under the category of fair use. Also, I don't get this whole, he loves my work, so that makes him a special camper who's devoid of any criticism bullshit. How can you base your friends off of how they like your stuff? That's frickin' stupid. Hell, by that logic, shouldn't you be okay with these reviews that you've taken down? Josiah Clark, you know, the one who you endorsed, stated he actually loved Cool Cat. Hell, even I Hate Everything stated he somewhat liked Cool Cat Saves the Kids. Your arguments are falling on your head. This game didn't use text boxes to tell its story, but rather it uses its environments, the music, and the character animations to tell a story. With most of the levels in this game, you get a feeling that a plot is going on in the background, which adds to the immersion of the game. This game can get pretty epic at times, especially in the last 4 zones. It can even get a bit atmospheric at times, especially when it gets to the Lava Reef zone. There are also some little neat details that you can only see if you closely observe. And this is one of those rare games that mixes story and gameplay flawlessly. What I find neat about this game, about the games of the Genesis era, is that they sort of tell a story of progression. Sonic starts off small, saving little woodland creatures, and making a couple friends, and then he eventually discovers his true powers through the Chaos Emeralds to save the world. And oh my, does this game have one hell of a climax. The gameplay, the setting, the music, the tension, it's overall one of the greatest climaxes I have seen of any video game, and was overall the perfect way to wrap up the classic Genesis era. To summarize his backstory, he was degraded to a simple mercenary. He had friends and together showed the world what they could do, but when he touched the Phantom Ruby, everything changed. He became insane and started working for Dr. Eggman, and because of that decision, his friends died. He felt very guilty and even weak for not being capable of saving them, so he took all that pain and rage and became infinite. Not a bad backstory. Even the comics establish this pretty well. So, how is it handled in the game? His closure is honestly pretty strange. He just gets his ass kicked and he's all of a sudden whisked away to a tower never to be seen again. It's like they tried to make his
Tails, however, has some really good character development. So do the other characters, but I want to mention Tails specifically. He starts off being reliant on Sonic, but then there comes a point where they're both separated from each other, to which Tails has to take matters into his own hands. So his development is based around becoming more independent, and as a result, his character and adventure is very endearing.
I'm not scared. I'm not scared. I can do this!
But when it comes to character development, I think Gamma steals the show. I've sort of already explained the story, and I kind of don't want to repeat myself about it. From his beginning to his change of morality and to his eventual demise, Gamma's campaign is very engaging when it comes to story. His campaign is the stronger end of this regard. Gamma is one of the best developed characters in the series. Well, one of the best.
And another thing is that whenever Mario does something different from his regular platformer routine, whether it be kart races, party games, or RPGs, no one really bats an eye, which is great because Mario should be allowed to do different things. Yet, whenever Pac-Man does something that's outside of the maze gameplay, of the original, these pedantic 80s babies act like it's a sin against humanity. Furthermore, you have people who complain that Pac-Man even has limbs to begin with, despite the fact that he's had limbs before he was even called Pac-Man. What the puck, man? There are many little nuances in the story, and there are a few things that the game leaves open to interpretation, which I really appreciate. The game's rating is pretty commendable. I do wish that the game did explore some of the characters more, but overall, what the game was able to provide with its story is good enough as is. After you get past the intro stage, there isn't much in the way of story progression. That is until you get halfway through World 4. By this time, the story takes a rather dark turn. I'm not going to spoil exactly what happens, but I will say that I like it a lot. It works with the story really well because it serves as the purpose of giving Jack motivation. Now, while it isn't entirely necessary, giving your character motivation can go a long way to make them feel more real, more engaging, and more relatable. And it makes the character's plight more interesting. And given all the factors here, Jack Razor utilizes this aspect really well. If there's one thing these games are really good at, it's like the variety, you know? Just constantly like adding things up, you know? Yeah, I remember that's what Factor 5 Fanatic mentioned in their review of the...
And that's kind of also why I just want more of the world formula in general. Like, they're simplistic, but they keep adding so much variety. Like, they have almost unlimited potential in my eyes.
Yeah, and I agree. There's a lot you can do with that sort of gameplay. It's just that it hasn't really been tapped into because, again, one game that didn't do so well.
And supposedly, the whole legal spaghetti regarding Miss Pac-Man.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
that stuff.
Ever since that news came out, it's speculated that may have also played a part.
Now, people have criticized World 3 for supposedly having Pac-Man be out of character, but I can't help but feel that's a bit misjudged, or at the very least exaggerated. Yeah, there were moments where his dickishness went a bit overboard, but there were plenty of moments where he was very in character. With Pac-Man and Street Fighter X Tekken, on the other hand, they basically made him a bit of a bad guy. The game's plot focuses on a mysterious box that contains immense power, that all of the playable fighters are after. Pac-Man's motivation for going after the box is mostly left ambiguous. That is until we get to his ending, where he consumes the power within. One aspect I want to analyze about it is the variety. You start off riding a piece of the helicopter as if you were snowboarding down the streets of San Francisco, jumping off of multiple ramps, pulling off tricks along the way. Then you run through a park area only to run down on the side of a building, and then you're chased by a giant truck. All this happens within the span of one stage, and the variety doesn't end there. Whether you're jumping off rockets, swinging on vines, messing with gravity, or other stuff like that, you're constantly thrown into crazy scenarios. And in general, the variety is top-notch. But remember earlier when I mentioned how the story sometimes bled into the gameplay? And not only are they portrayed as good partners to each other, but also as good pals. I particularly like the chemistry with Shadow and Rouge. It was great in SA2, and it's especially strong in this game. We're shown that Rouge actually cares for Shadow. During the one scene in the midway point of Team Dark's story, where Shadow sees the android that resembles him and questions if he's even real. Or how, during the ending, Rouge finds those capsules of Shadow clones, coming to the conclusion that the real Shadow is probably dead. But then Omega comforts her, claiming that the real Shadow must still be around, giving her that bit of hope, showing us that, well, she basically cares about Shadow and his well-being. Also, I really like this exchange Rouge and Shadow. But oh, the special stages. Now, these are a special kind of hell. For one, even getting to the special stages is an ordeal in of itself. In order to get to the special stage, you need to obtain a key, and you need to hold on to said key until you reach the end of the goal. Sounds simple, right? But if you get hit once, you lose it. Now, making simply not dying at all would have been a much more fair, but not even getting hit? Geez, these stages are long. How can you expect someone to not get hit? That is unless they're skilled, I guess. But the special stages themselves are The main issue with the special stages is just how awful the physics and controls are. Movement is so fucking jerky, and it's so easy to get thrown out of place. It's just a mess. I at least have to give them some credit for attempting to bring the special stages into a 3D Sonic game, but that doesn't make it this any less egregious.
Zero had its own 80s cartoon, and Ghostly Adventures had its Ghostly Adventures cartoon.
Yeah, but
Pac-Man World didn't even have a cartoon.
Yes.
I think it would have the most potential as a cartoon.
No, yeah,
it's
totally.
Shown that Pac-Man's voice is probably the best in that game.
Yeah, no, I mean, while playing through replaying that game recently, I thought to myself, damn, this would make for a great cartoon.
Yeah, Pac-Man isn't nearly as like mean-spirited as in the 80s cartoon, nor as annoying as in like Ghostly Adventures. Like Pac-Man Ghostly Adventures is like, whoa, time for funny me moment, and it's like,
right.
No, Pac-Man, it's not funny me
Oh
moment.
boy, I beat the game. Now I have to do it again, and again, and again,
And again, and again, and again, and again, and again, and again, and again, and again, and again, and again, and again,
From the orange mittens, to the red boots, to the cartoonish eyes, the spherical aesthetic, and his whole variety of expressions. In general, this design is really appealing and very flexible. This iteration of Pac-Man is the most utilized throughout the series, as well as in other games that Pac-Man has appeared in. However, the games that utilize this interpretation to a T are the Pac-Man World games. The final boss is such a slog. I hope you like charging up an attack only for it to miss due to shoddy collision detection. I hope you like continuously circling the ugly fuck in repetitive fashion after you don't know what you're doing and the fight is a royal pain in the ass, or you know what you're doing and it's piss easy. The fight never evolves and it just comes off as repetitive. This is easily the worst final boss of the adventure era. And it kind of ends it off on anything else you want to say more?
Pray for the best, expect the worst.
Right, that's what I'm thinking, you know.
I'm just praying for something that's good. The baseline for me would just be a good Pac-Man collection.
Yeah.
I do hope they remaster the World Trilogy. Make World 4.
Just take mere re-releases, just expand modability and all that.
Yes, that would be great. You know.
And they really need to find their ways to do more cool things with a character that's more unique. Like, we need new car racer. We need a new pinball game. We need something that's more.
We need another like maze adventure, like some stuff like that. You know.
Yeah, Namco, please don't
another platformer, and another platformer. While we're at it, you know.
Yeah.
Maybe an RPG.
I'd love to see a Pac-Man RPG.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, maybe something like a tower defense game could also work. You know.
Yes. And hopefully we may see a return to, you know, to the true Pac-Man. But anyways, I will see you all later. And yeah, I'll see you all later.